Are you looking to get on the road to your dream career? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Mentor Select Podcast with your host, Derek Phillips. Always stay up to date on social media at Mentor Select and online at mentorselect.com. Here's your host of the Mentor Select Podcast, Derek Phillips.
Welcome to episode 59 of the Mentor Select Podcast. I really appreciate you joining us this week. Always be sure to like, subscribe, and share the Mentor Select Podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who you feel can benefit from virtual mentorship. Don't forget, if you've already purchased my book, Poverty Powerball, be sure to leave me a review on Amazon. They really make a difference and helps to get my book into more readers' hands. I appreciate your support. And if you haven't purchased the book yet, hey, be sure to check it out. It's available on Amazon, Poverty Powerball. It's all about turning adversity into your winning ticket. And just the reviews I've been getting back from the readers has been just overwhelming. People are really resonating with the story and learning a lot from me, just candidly sharing all the adversity I had to overcome during my childhood. But I feel that set me up to thrive later on in life. It's been my competitive advantage, aka my Poverty Powerball. But today we have a phenomenal show for you. My boy Dave Bennette, he's going to just share a lot of his wisdom with us. He recently launched his podcast called The Man Cave. That's D-A Cave on YouTube and other platforms. But he's going to get into more details about that. And it's a really enlightened brother. He's all about really trying to make a difference in the world and change the narrative that we see, especially amongst Black men. So get ready to hear some gems. So today we have David Bennette on the Mentor Select Podcast. How are you, David?
I'm good, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, I can't complain. Been happy to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Had the pleasure of being on your show a few weeks back, so certainly wanted to return the love and hear more of your story, and we're going to do exactly that over the next 30 minutes or so.
All right.
Cool. So, David, on the Mentor Select Podcast, we like to get to know our guest mentors better. So could you mind sharing something with us that most people don't know about you? Just a fun fact.
A fun fact about Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I was a two-time state champion wrestler in Maryland.
Okay.
So that's a fun fact that a lot of people are not aware of. I also coached wrestling for maybe about 5 years. And both of my kids were youth champions as well.
Okay.
And I'm looking to get back into it. I should be hearing back from Creekview High School because I'm supposed to be starting the youth program there. I'm trying to take over. So any kids out there or any parents out there who have children from the ages of 5 years old to, let's say, 12 years old, you can bring them up to Creekview after school, probably around 6 o'clock, and, they can come roll around and we'll teach them how to do a little bit of self-defense without punching and kicking.
Wow, that's fantastic. So where's Creekview located?
It's in Carrollton, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, right there on Old Denton Road.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, parents, you hear that. Definitely wrestling is a good sport. Teach them a lot of discipline and, like I say, self-defense. So how did you first get involved in wrestling?
Well, I had a really good football coach because I was a pretty standout athlete in high school.
Okay.
And one of the football coaches, we were having one of those meets with the players and the coaches where basically they took you and they asked you what did you want to do as far as the next level goes. And of course, I wanted to have my dreams of playing in the NFL, just like most young kids, that were my age at that time.
Right.
And he suggested to me that if I was really serious about playing in the National Football League and college, that I should think of taking up wrestling. So I went down the halls and I signed up. And it shortly became my favorite sport.
Okay. Wow. That's cool. I mean, I could see a football player. I wouldn't have guessed you was a wrestler. So, yeah. Learn something new.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up. So, David, here at Mentor Select, we really encourage our listeners to follow their passions because we feel it'll lead them ultimately to their dream career. Can you tell us how you're following your passions?
I was blessed with this voice of mine, which, I've been told several times that, I should do voiceovers and I need to get into radio. And radio was one of the things that was a passion of mine.
Okay.
I had the pleasure of being on ESPN Sports Talk 980, which is in DC as a Redskins network.
Okay.
And I got into it, and just as a young kid, it didn't work out at that station, but I kind of lost it over years. So just in the spirit of following my passions, I thought to myself, man, this podcast thing is going crazy. I think I should start one. I'd be pretty good with it. I'm pretty analytical, really smart. Let's try it. So that's what I did. I found me a podcast studio, and I started a podcast, and it's really similar to yours. Just about the betterment of us.
Okay.
If, trying to use that term loosely, but the betterment of us and what we're doing. So, I like to highlight people doing great things as well, like you in your book. So, that's how I'm following my passion, man. Just trying to stay out there,
Right. And like I mentioned, I had the honor of being on your show, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely I have a great setup there, and you're just a natural interviewer. It's not everyone has that skill, but yeah, I guess in addition to your voice, you just have that skill of interviewing and being analytical and knowing the right questions to ask to really pull out those gems.
I really appreciate that coming from you, you know what I'm saying? Because I had the pleasure of getting one of your books at the party. Actually, you gave it to me at the podcast, but I actually read it.
Okay.
And, I thought it was a really good testament to yourself. And so, to hear that coming from you is, I just want you to know that I take that with a different grain of salt than I would take it from a lot of people.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. And it's definitely from the heart. Now, what's the name of your show, and tell us more about it?
Oh, that's the Man Cave, and you have to be sure about how you spell it,
Mm-hmm.
because it is not it's the DA space Man Cave. That's on YouTube. We are live every Monday night.
Okay.
But you have to go to KMWI Media to see that, which is the actual station that I'm on. We're live every Monday night from 9 to 10. But if you can't catch it on Monday night from 9 to 10, if you're watching your favorite team on Monday Night Football, no worries. You can access it on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or any other day right there on YouTube.
Right. Cool. So how long you been doing the Man Cave show?
In essence, I've been doing for years.
Okay.
Because I did it on what's that platform called that you do podcasts on? I forget.
Good.
It's right on the tip of my tongue too.
Spotify, Google Play.
No, it's the one where you can just like talk into your phone, and it's a podcast.
Okay.
It's podcasted after that, but I was doing it on that, whatever that was, and Anchor. There you go.
Okay.
I knew I had it right on my tongue. So I was doing it on Anchor for some time, but it was kind of just like trial and error there. And then, I have some amazing friends and amazing people around me who kind of just was like, dude, go for it,
right.
And I just got serious, and I started doing it 3 months ago, and that's the product that you're seeing, the show that you were on. That's been 3 months in the making.
Okay. Fantastic. Now, I think you highlighted something that's very important that a lot of people struggle with, where they have an idea, a dream, something they really want to do, but they just get stuck where they don't essentially go for it. Have you always been that type of person where you go for what you want?
I'll preface like this. I do go for what I want. And if I want something, I have no problem looking at it eye to eye and attacking it. But like a lot of people out there, when you get involved in life and you start having kids and you start having, bills and homes and mortgages, that kind of stuff has a way of swallowing your dreams.
Right.
And sometimes as human beings, we all get lost in that, like I was for years, just lost in trying to handle the hustle and bustle of an everyday 9 to 5, take care of the kids, take care of the wife, make sure everything's straight, and your dreams get left behind after a while, and you just have to find it in yourself, or you have to have good people around you, which was my case, to kind of, shake you a little bit, wake you up and say, hey, go get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it goes in importance about, who you surround yourself with. Because if you're surrounding yourself with go-getters, they're going to, like I say, shake you up and tell you, hey, let's go for it. They're not gonna
right. Yeah. I can't stress enough how much the circle you keep can change or keep your life the same. It's amazing. And I love to meet new people. And one thing for us men, and I talk about mental health a lot on my show too, but one thing for us men is it's hard for us to make friends, because we're so stuck into this soldier mentality of, that the next brother next to you could possibly be your enemy or something like that.
Yeah, got a guard.
I take it upon myself to make sure I'm assertive in being friendly to brothers, in general. Like I loved you. You're like, your spirit, man. I'm like, man, let's go out. Let's go do something.
It's definitely natural.
Because I can tell you're the type of person.
Yeah. Certainly that natural connection, the chemistry.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You can just sense good energy, man.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Very important. Very important for your dreams.
Totally agree. Now, with the Man Cave show, I think you have something really special going on there, and clearly you're passionate about it. That comes across as when you're interviewing people. And something that really resonated with me at the end of our show, I think we're probably done with it, but you were saying like how it's important for you to change. You want to change the narrative. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. Well, okay. I think that this would also just it would kind of go hand in hand with what I said just a second ago about, like it's called the Man Cave because I really value the relationship that we need to have as men, as brothers, as Black men, especially looking at each other, supporting each other, doing right by each other. I think it's very important that we change that narrative from what it was 20 years ago where, you see a brother and you don't even speak because you in this clique or that clique, and I just look at it and I just want to change that. It's very important. Like I want to highlight one of the things I stress at the Man Cave, and I'm sorry, I might be a little long-winded here.
Let it out.
Yeah, one of the things I stress at the Man Cave is that I want to highlight great people. And sometimes we get so stuck into looking at the stars in Hollywood as the only great people. And, at the end of the day, we have some awesome, terrific, successful brothers right here in our area and in other places in the country that they need to be celebrated. Like when, I heard about your book, Poverty Powerball, and I stress all of you out there to go get it because it was definitely a great read. But, when I heard about your book, it was like, it wasn't even a thought,
Yeah.
Like I didn't know you, but it wasn't a thought. It was like, this brother's doing something positive. I have to highlight him. I have to put him out there so people know who he is and what he's doing because I appreciate what you're doing. So that's what I mean by changing the narrative is just trying to, come together instead of, pushing each other away.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. And that's one of the great things about hosting a podcast. It gives you that opportunity to have a platform where you can showcase people we feel are doing great things. And like you mentioned, celebrities, they probably make up less than 1% of the population, but it's so
exactly.
You have no idea. We don't know them because people are not showcasing them. People aren't highlighting what they're doing. So they're kind of flying under the radar. And it's unfortunate in our society where we really don't recognize people until the masses validate them and say, okay, now this is a celebrity. Now this person's worth paying attention to. But what you're doing is you're catching it on the front end where these people are on the ground, where we say in the military, boots on the ground on the front lines, work. You're choosing to go there on the front lines and highlight them people versus waiting until they already made it rich and successful and famous and all
Right.
that. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
And also something that with my show, I interview great people like yourself who are making a difference. And it just feels good to spotlight other people where it's not, especially like on social media, where it's easy to always be trying to show like how great your life is. And that's so vain. But when you're spotlighting other people, that really feels good. I enjoy it.
Right. Well, I mean, my job is pretty easy because like I really concentrate on like, okay, I could have come out with a podcast just highlighting my ideas.
Okay.
I could have come out with a podcast talking about sports. I could have come out with a podcast talking about men's fashion or whatever it may have been, but I chose to highlight other people, because I just like, I know some awesome people. And, when I looked at my circle of friends and said, you guys are freaking awesome, it dawned on me, it just dawned on me. So I went that route, man. Yeah. And I'm pretty happy with the result.
That is cool. I know you're pretty early on in the show, but how has the reception been so far?
It's growing. We're growing. The reception has been great. I've gotten a couple of negative comments about me talking over people and stuff like that, which is, anybody who's dated me before could probably vouch for that. I have a habit of doing that, but that's also why I host, what I'm saying? So I can, but other than that, man, it's been really, really good. I mean, people are, when I do approach people about coming on the show, they're receptive to it. I always try to tell them, hey, look, I'm not going to, I'm here to highlight you. I want you to leave this show and feel so good about it that you go and tell people to watch.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anybody I bring on, that's my goal.
Well, I certainly left feeling that way and telling all my friends and my family to watch and sharing it with them. And one thing with my wife, she's one of the type of people where she's no filter. She's going to tell you how it is, but she listened to the show and really enjoyed it as well. So she kind of like my test when I know if I'm doing something good or not. If I really did a good job. I asked her, she's going to give me an honest opinion, but she liked it a lot.
Yeah, I talked to her at your party. And she said that she gave me that compliment, and I really appreciated it because I wasn't sure if anybody there saw it or not, Yeah. But I said hello to her, introduced myself, and she was like, "Oh, hi." She didn't know who I was at first, but I said I did the podcast with Derek, and she said, "Oh, yeah, that's right. I really enjoyed it. It was a good show." So, I just like to, that's always a blessing when someone recognizes what you're doing as something, that's decent enough for them to even care about, I appreciate that.
Certainly. And that's the thing with those type of shows like yours, like my podcast, where we're doing something positive and highlighting people. You just don't know who on the other end is going to hear that, and it's going to spark something within them and inspire them to walk in their greatness. So it's great. It's all about just that. Okay, it only reaches one person, and we did our job. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Be the best you can be every day. Your only competition. Life is golf.
Yeah,
life is golf.
Right.
You're not playing the other players. You're playing the course.
Exactly. I like that. No doubt about it.
One of those good, what is that metaphors that, that this is going to always going to be money right there.
It's there for the taking, no doubt. So on mentorship, how has mentors played a role in your life? What impact have they had?
Man, from high school to now as a grown man, mentors have always been there. A lot of times they're just not called mentors. They're called friends.
Right.
Or they're called brothers, or their dads, or their stepdads, or their uncles. A lot of times when we say mentorship or mentors, we get stuck in that title. But really, anybody who can add value to your everyday life is mentoring you in some sort of way. Whether it's your wife or whether it's your kids, you can be mentored by your kids. So I'm still learning each and every day. And the reason I picked the kind of circle that I picked, the people who I hang around are positive. They're smiling. They're wonderful. They're great. They're awesome. Just like you. I haven't seen you not once not smiling. And like that kind of stuff rubs off. It's contagious.
I agree,
and that in itself is mentorship. So I'm still learning. Like I'm still going through it. I'd like to give a shout out to my man Joe Decor. He's somebody I learned from a lot. Brandon Decor, I learned from him a lot. They teach me a lot of their nuances in life, and all my friends, even the ones who really don't have a lot to add, even in their bad ways, it's a mentorship, because I'm seeing what not to do.
Yeah, I love their view on mentorship, and I really love the fact that you mentioned like you can even learn from your kids. There's so much you can learn from youth, from your kids or whoever,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people miss that because they feel that okay, I can't learn from someone that's younger than me, or that's not the case. They have a different perspective, which you can benefit from.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, they're also growing up in a different time.
Right.
So before you say your kids can't mentor you, I challenge you to go and install Snapchat on your phone. Try to figure that out on your own.
Right.
I'm a Facebook guy.
Yeah,
so
me too. I'm old school Facebook.
Yeah, I'm a Facebook guy. So they moved me to Instagram for the podcast.
Okay.
Well, I do both.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can find me on Facebook at the Man Cave with the Fellas, DA Man Cave with the Fellas. That's our podcast page. And also _ the Man Cave on Instagram. You can find us there. So anyway, back to the story. They moved me to Instagram. And dude, let me tell you, lost wasn't the word. Okay? I'm trying to figure out how I could post a video. I don't know how to do nothing. I had to go to my son and he had to teach me. So, he felt real good about that. Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, I totally can relate. I love Facebook. That's what I knew, grew up on. But yeah, Instagram, I just got on it this year and my wife had to kind of school me on it. I still don't like it as much as Facebook just because
right.
So
me
many
neither.
differences. And I haven't even attempted Snapchat. Like, oh no, that's a whole nother venture.
Man, I've never been on that.
But yeah, that's a good point. And it was funny. I was around my grandparent-in-laws this weekend, and they were talking about like just how like kids of this generation like talk about it in more of a negative context. And you notice like a lot of times old people will say that like, oh, this generation, this or that or this. But yeah, it's just they're missing out on so much you could learn from the generation. That's the thing. They're growing up in a different era, so you can't compare your era to their era. It's totally different, and just to accept those.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's definitely key, accepting them. No doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same with their music. I mean, a lot of us, we look at their music or listen to their music, and it's like, this is trash, But that was the same thing that our parents said about our music with the gangster rap and stuff like that. That this is trash, and so. It just kind of goes hand in hand. I think the great thing about our generation, though, and I'm going to include you in my generation, too.
Right.
I'm only
close on the
41,
cusp.
So. the great thing about our generation, man, that I would say was unlike the parents that raised us, was that I can enjoy their stuff, too, and they can enjoy my stuff. Yeah. Like 90s music ain't never going nowhere. So when I throw in some Tupac or some Biggie, my kids are enjoying it just as much as I am, Why, if they put on some YBN, whoever he is.
Right.
I don't even know.
That is a classic. It's true. Yeah, good point. So at least my next question. So as you're following your passions, like during those difficult times when you're struggling or you're just maybe feeling down or just running into challenges, what keeps you going? What inspires you?
I was going to try to not make this a long answer, but I don't think
I got time. Go for it.
Okay. So what inspires, it's a couple things that inspire me on a daily basis. One is my son. My son, both of them, but there's one that lives with me permanently. And what inspires me to keep going and not be down and figure things out is the fact that he's watching. And as long as he's watching me, there's mentorship being done.
Right.
And if I'm not being a good mentor in with the things that I do, not my words, but my actions, then he's going to learn the wrong things.
Yeah.
So that drives me. Also, I'm a pretty well kept person, and I want to keep it that way. I'm afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of it. I accept it, because when you fail at something, it means that success is just around the corner.
Right.
You just didn't get it this time. But I'm afraid of it too, and I think it's a healthy fear.
Love it. And especially, like I said, essentially leading by example. That's so important, especially as parents and being a leader in any form. We certainly want to lead by example, because people are going to go by.
Hey, look, check this. It was so funny because you said a leader, right?
Yep.
Yeah, a leader. That's my son's name.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
his
us the
name is
history on
Leader. His
that.
name is. Oh, dude, man, I got called every name in the book when I thought of this. Okay, so my first child was born, and we named him David Jr. And when we were in the hospital, he came out, and he was on the table, and we were in the hospital. I was looking at him, and the doctor walked up, and the doctor said, "Hey, you guys gonna have any more kids?" And she was like, "No," and I said, "Yeah," at the same time. She saying no, I'm saying yeah. We're at the same exact time. And I was like, "Look, we're gonna have one more son in about 2 years, and his name is gonna be Leader." And I just started calling him Leader from that day on, even though he wasn't even born or even thought of, to be honest. So I started calling him Leader. And throughout the process, my mom, my ex-wife's mom, the sisters, brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, horses, everybody, we're like, "Are you on crack?" Like, this is the literal question. Are you on crack right now? You cannot name a child Leader. But I just kept saying it. And 2 years later, when we had him, it was just the only name we can name him.
Wow.
And we named him Leader. And I'm going to tell you, man, to this day, it is the most awesome name in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody tries to take it. Everybody says, as soon as I have a son, I'm naming him Leader. Sorry, taking the name. But yeah, it's an interesting story, though.
Wow.
Hey, this is a great lesson for people out there. Sometimes you get a feeling, you need to go with it. Don't listen to everybody else, because, who knows, that name might carry him somewhere.
Definitely. And it just instills that in him where, hey, he knows that's what he was born to do, be a leader. So he knows, no doubt about it. I love it. It's a lot of power within it.
I use that line like every day with him. Like, God daggone it, what is your name?
Right.
Your name is Leader.
Gotta be a leader.
I don't want to hear you following somebody.
That's not an option.
Right.
Leader was a follower. No, that just don't click.
Yeah, that don't go right. Your name is Leader, boy. It's your job to be the one. Like, if you get in trouble, dude, I'm blaming you, because you're supposed to be leading the pack, not following it.
Yes, indeed.
So I give him that all the time.
I certainly can relate to that. As I told you, my daughter's name, Legacy. I have to give my wife the credit for naming her, but yeah, her name is a name like Legacy. You have to leave a lasting legacy. You can't just be average person.
That's awesome.
You can't be
average, that's an awesome
status
name.
quo. No, you got to do something phenomenal.
I read a book on names, and it really said that when you name a child something, they're most likely to become, somewhere in the aspect of what that name means. So my name is David. That means intelligence. And, most Davids you meet are semi-intelligent, I would hope.
It's a strong name.
But, yeah, it was names like Tom and Tyson that were like bullies. Like, you name your child Tom or Tyson or something like that, they're probably most likely going to be bullies as kids, blah, blah, blah. If you name your daughter Taylor, she's going to be athletic. Made a lot of sense. So that's why I got real funny about my name. I wanted to name my child.
It was intentional. Yeah, it was a good job.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Dave, it's been a lot of fun interviewing you today. You dropped some knowledge on us, as I knew you would. But as I close up this interview, what parting words of advice would you leave to listeners?
Man, everybody out there, just stay the course. Be faithful in what you do. Be loyal to yourself and your family, and you won't fail. You know, and the law of attraction is real. If you guys haven't watched The Secret, please go out and watch it. If you haven't read the Willie Lynch letters, please read those letters. They will change your life. And also subscribe to the Man Cave on YouTube. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
No doubt. And it's funny you mentioned the Willie Lynch letters. I was just talking to one of my Caucasian friends today. He had never heard of them. I was telling him about the Willie Lynch letters. And that completely changed my perspective on a lot of things after reading that. Give me a better understanding of why we're in the situation we're in. I know.
Yes.
I was like, just get a quick overview of what's your feedback on the Willie Lynch letters? What impact did it have on you?
Well, when you read the Willie Lynch letters, it'll allow you to understand how modern day slavery is still here. Yeah. It'll open your eyes to understanding how we are still underneath the laws of the Willie Lynch letters. Yeah. Like let's look at one part of it real quick.
Yep.
When you talk about females, in the Willie Lynch letters, the white people that wrote this were from the Virgin Islands, I think.
Sound about right.
Willie Lynch was his name, of course.
Brought him in.
Man, he came up. Yeah, they brought him over into the United States to kind of teach the slave masters how to control such a large amount of slaves without doing much. Yep. You know, because you might only have 20 white people working this whole plantation. You might have 300 black people. Yep. And they needed to know how to control these
mentally.
People. Yep. So what they did is they said they focused. Now it's a lot more to it, and I ain't gonna get into that. But they focused on the black woman as being the most important thing. That was the most important commodity to each one of the slave masters were the women.
Yep.
If you could get the women, then you can control the men. Yep. And you control the women by right. You control the women by taking away the man from the family and then beating and scorning the man to where the woman will see that he can't protect her either.
Right.
So the only thing she can do is, depend on the slave master, i.e. the government, i.e. WIC, i.e. child support, i.e. Food stamps, right? And we kick the black man out the door and say, man, we don't need you. Yep. As a matter of fact, if you get the black man back into the household, the government take their money. They say, no, we can't help you now.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that was the whole thing. So then once you get the control of that, and you kind of see that, okay, the child support system is built around the same laws.
Right.
Government assistance is built around the same laws.
Yeah.
And it's all to basically break that family tie and make the black man non-existent and make the woman only be able to depend on the slave master, i.e. the government now.
Yep.
Excuse my language, getting deep on y'all.
That's real deep. Like that's something I read years back, and it just clarified everything for me as far as what's going on now. And even in the Willie Lynch letters, he mentioned, like, if you do this right, it's going to last for 300 plus years, generations and generations. And that is, you see it today. So that's true. But I think what's most important is men like you and myself are doing our part to undo those psychological effects of things like the Willie Lynch letters and the systematic disenfranchisement of black people, things like that. So we gotta take our role, and we can't get caught up in what already happened in terms of like feeling helpless. We gotta take an active role in going back to what you said, changing the narrative. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All for it.
Absolutely, man.
Well, Davey, it's been a lot of fun. You're a deep brother. Certainly look forward to learning more about you, hanging out with you more, especially here in Dallas. But so far as the listeners, I know you mentioned as far as how they can follow you. What's any other contact information you want to give as far as how?
Man, just, you guys can follow the YouTube page. It's the Man Cave. It's DA space Man Cave. I'm sure. I'm hope all of you can spell that. You can find me on social media at the Man Cave with the Fellas on Facebook. underscore the Man Cave on Instagram, or my regular Facebook page. I don't want to look that up, but yeah, just look up any of those platforms, or you can just look on some of Derek's posts. Yeah. I'm probably on there.
Yeah, and I'll include all of your contact information in the show notes. That's what's up. Well, we appreciate you, David. You've been great, and continue doing what you're doing. You're making a difference.
It's been a pleasure, man. Anytime you want me to come back, you just let me know, brother.
My pleasure. Wow, that was a phenomenal interview with Dave Bennette. He has a lot of wisdom, and I enjoyed talking to him. Like he mentioned when we first met, and I did an interview at the Man Cave, it was just that chemistry, and you can just tell he's a really positive brother that's about enlightening people and empowering people. So we need more brothers like him for sure. Be sure to check out the Man Cave every Monday. I'll list all of the information so you can listen to the show. He always has great guests, and it's just a real fun, just open conversation dialogue between men. And it's a very unique show. You don't have a lot of podcasts out there like that. So be sure to check it out and support Dave and let him know what resonated with you about this interview. We'll be back next week with another phenomenal guest mentor. So till then, follow your passions.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Mentor Select podcast, helping you identify and follow your passions. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit mentorselect.com and Mentor Select on social media. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review. We'll catch you next time.